So here we have it, game number 2 of this best of 3. Overgrowth is going to be the map, another 2 spawn position map. And spawning in the lower left hand position, we have the blue Protoss player, ShoWTimE. And his opponent up to the top right, the red Protoss, representing alien invasion, none other than Patience. So this should be a good fun game. I'm looking forward to seeing what each of them are going to be throwing down. Of course, game number 1 started with a proxy gate that didn't really work out that well for our lovely Protoss player ShoWTimE. Patience though, he did take it to the long hole and just had a better composition late game. And was able to just win after a nice little push, hindering the economy, thanks to a nice drop into the back of ShoWTimE's main, and also taking out the third. So Patience playing game number 1, really solid. He didn't really do anything crazy, and that's always a nice footing to win your first game. Is obviously any win is a good win when you're in a competitive environment like this. But if you're able to win a game by just playing straight up, just good macro, good micro, good build, good decisions, it's very hard to combat that from your opponent's perspective, because let's look at a different example. Let's say ShoWTimE went for a proxy 2 gate in map 1 and it didn't work and Patience held it. Quite simple. Then you go, okay, game number 1, I went for this all in. I did this and it didn't work. Let's say ShoWTimE got his army caught out of position or something. You go, alright, I lost because of that point. You've got a singular thing that you can focus on, and as long as you do or don't do something in response to that action, the next game is a completely new battle. But if, like we saw in game number 1, Patience just played a solid series or a solid map, what do you do against that? You go, well, okay, well, my opponent didn't really do anything amazing. They didn't do one thing that made me lose. They just did a lot of things really, really well. Or not even really well, but just a bit better than I did them. Puts a lot of pressure on. Going to a standard build, though, as opposed to a proxy gate, does mean that ShoWTimE is in a bit more of a safe position, playing it a bit more straight up, not taking any risks or any little gambles himself. This puts us in quite an interesting spot. We're going to see a straight up game between both of these two. 6 probes in gas on both sides, so we should be seeing some tech relatively soon. ShoWTimE is up in the overall gas count though, and approaching that 150 Vespian mark, we should be seeing some kind of tech out of him pretty soon. Will it be a Stargate? He has shown a good preference for those when he played up against Hasselhoffs in the semi-final. But regardless, Patience adds in his Twilight Council. And ShoWTimE goes for the Sentry. So a very defensive play out of ShoWTimE. This Sentry is purely there to be able to force field off the ramp if required by time and give security. What it doesn't do is give much of an option to get aggressive. Natural base though coming down, so an economic edge going to be apparent early on for ShoWTimE, but it's also a big commitment for him. A Zealot, a Stalker coming in from all angles, Patience ready with the proxy pylon and is going for a blink based strategy. That's very good for ShoWTimE adding in now the robotics facility, because that's going to be the best response he's got to it. The natural nexus is nowhere near done yet, so does have to be quite careful. Zealot taking a bit of damage. The Sentry has to be in focus. Force field goes down, but not in time. The Sentry dies. That is a good pickup. 100 gas down the pan at only 5 minutes 45 is a lovely bit of damage done. The natural base taking a bit of fire, but not really enough to cause it too many problems. Those shields are regenerating up quicker than it can get taken down. But still, damage being done, and that's always going to be some nice times. Stalker on Stalker though. Patience could win that fight if he took it. His Stalker still had full shields. Anyway, ShoWTimE adding in his proxy pylon. His robotics facility now finished up. He's scouting in just to get this first bit of information. Sees the natural, sees a couple of additional gates being taken, and now discovers the Twilight Council with a chrono boost on it. That screams that it's going to be Blink. And that's an important scout. An Immortal should immediately be begun on at this robotics facility. You need the Immortal down for that added damage. 1 isn't going to be enough. 2 should be able to thwart any attempt at getting damage down with these Blink Stalkers. But the timing is very important. Chrono boosts need to be spent here. It's essential that it comes out. Still there for the moment, ShoWTimE. Just waiting for it. He does have no threat of a proxy pylon yet, but one should get started pretty soon. And ooh, okay, no. A Dark Trine was coming through, but then decided against that, and I think that's quite wise. This would have been the Observer anyway, so should have seen the shimmer of there. Blink done. These additional 2 gates haven't been morphed into warp gates yet, which is a bit of an oversight considering the amount of time warp gate tech has been finished for. Patience. Gonna allow these 4 stalkers just to come and poke, come and prod. Checking up into the high ground. Up he goes. Oh, the Immortal scene. Can't see these stalkers yet. This is really, really lucky for Patience. If the Immortal had discovered these 4 stalkers, they'd be in for a bit of trouble. Managed to blink away, get to safety. And so, we're now cruising into the mid-game. We've gone past the point really where a lot of damage could be done, and we know that because both players are looking towards the forges, both looking to try and go into those later stages, get the upgrades coming through. ShoWTimE is going to be the one getting ahead in those upgrades this game though. Remember last game? +3 was done for Patience, that final engagement, and it really gave him a big advantage. So ShoWTimE wanting to not get put back into a situation where he's got a deficit in his upgrades. Wanting to stay ahead, wanting to try and utilise those. More Immortals coming down from ShoWTimE and Patience, but Patience opting yet again for that much earlier Robotics Bay. Up against Patience, that Robotics Bay, you need to have a response to it. It's going to be a Stargate yet again from ShoWTimE. So may go for the Tempest, although he only got 4 out last game, and ideally you do want 5 or 6 of them, just to make sure that you can be chipping away nicely. Blink Stalkers can blink across that. These 4 nearly get caught out of position. No blink is done though for ShoWTimE, so they will be able to get away safely. 1, although only just. Very, very close stuff here. Keeping an eye on what the rest of these guys are doing for the moment. Just not really that much, although ShoWTimE is going to have to contend with this Warp Prism again. Patience adding it in. He's chrono boosting down +1, although he's behind by quite a way in that tech. Charge coming down in addition to this for Patience, so he's going to have Blink and Charge. And the Charge Zealots really did do a lot of work for him in that last game, so it's important to see that again. Flea Beacon on its way down now for ShoWTimE. He's continuing to tech up, continuing to get into a really nice spot actually. Meanwhile, good number of sentries, Immortals ready to go over. Nice little takedown. Phoenix taking, or Hallucinated Phoenix, just getting a little look at this. Patience moving out now with the double Immortal drop. He's got to be careful. He's about to fly straight over the vision. How many Stalkers are there? Okay, only the 1. 3 sentries though. That Warp Prism has to get away safely. Sacrificing the Immortals to get it out, because otherwise it could have just been free pickings. 1 Immortal dies to just make sure the second one stays alive. But my goodness, that was fairly close. Nice pick off there by ShoWTimE, who's adding in his Templar Archives just a smidgen before that of Patience. Patience now grabbing a lot more Warp Gates. He's gearing up for a 2-base play. No sign of a third, wanting to end this game pretty damn quick. He didn't make a Colossus either, which is quite interesting. The problem is he just doesn't have enough Immortals. He needs a lot of Archons. That's really his one true option here. And a lot of Archons are going to be coming out. 2 already morphing. There should be a 3rd one coming through. There we go. 3 Immortals. That'll make up for being down by 3. 3 Archons going to make up for that. Nice little pin here. And this catches a couple of those Immortals immediately. That takes him in bite-sized chunks. And that is a massive part of the army for ShoWTimE. Patience taking a beautiful engagement. Mass Recall trying to come down, but the 3rd base is going to die. GG called right there. Those force fields were insanely good. Wow, Patience. That was some good force fields and good timing. He takes this series 2-0. He takes this first cup. Congratulations to Patience.